didn't really have an education in it. You just you were like a moth to a flame with these items and the things you could create, and it all started there. About how long ago, Barry?
It was probably 35 years ago now. I started making fountains. I worked my way through college as a construction plumber. So I would take the scrap copper and make my family and friends these kind of Rube Goldberg fountains. So that's when I first started working with the metal. Yes, I've never taken an art class or a welding class. It just showed up in my head one day, kind of.
Yeah, you are the one of the people who should be showing people and teaching how to do such a thing. And so I understand you have a whole network of people who know who you are, and when they have a certain situation, whether it's a hotel closing, apartments that are being torn down, they call and say, Barry, we have some materials that might be of interest to you and your amazing art.
Yes, they call me all the time. I go visit them, and quite often they have some really cool stuff. They're always just kind of amazed at what they're getting rid of that I can take and try and make something cool out of it. I always send them a picture or bring it back to them so they can see what the piece finally looked like.
We're going to take a look. This is a picture now from a recent art festival you attended. Just tell us what these are, how you came about organizing them into this masterpiece, and how you go about grabbing on and adhering to your inspiration.
I always like to have people, when they come to the booth, try and guess what the pieces are made out of. These pieces are made from the things that hold the shower head to the wall. So they were tearing down an apartment complex. They gave me a call, and I went through all the apartments, and I unscrewed and unbolted the shower heads and took the escutcheons, that's those pieces, off of the wall, and then I welded them together to create that piece. It makes a great light. You can also toss it into a fire pit if you want.
You also, it almost seems like you do some weaving with little spires of things that you get these. Okay. There's a chain, there's a guitar made of, I don't know, what are those, washers, and then you've got these things that look like, almost like they're in the form of a woman with their hair blowing in the wind. And if you go see his show, you can actually see these wires of sorts sort of blowing in the wind. So it's got a sort of accumulation of you and nature, making this art really speak to whoever is looking at it.
Yes, those pieces are called windswept. They are made out of used aluminum power line. They're covered with a nasty, dark black insulation that I have to cut, peel off to get to the metal underneath. And if you look, they're not welded or soldered. I just twist and kind of wrestle those together. I never know what the piece is going to look like at the end. I just start at the base and work my way up, and eventually I know it's done.
And they're right behind you. You have a couple pieces. Again, it looks like a lovely woman, wind blowing, hair blowing in the wind. And you've got different sort of metals. I see the silver, the bronze, and what else? Because this almost, when you're walking through the art fair, you see this blowing in the wind, and then it brings you into all the other sculptures that are so amazing. And they actually have, it's beautiful form, but they can also be functional for a household, business, or hotel.
Yes, many of the pieces they use, the bowls and stuff, you can put food in them, or pine cones or something like that. The other pieces, the piece right there in the center, the silver piece, I made a 6'1" for a lady in Beverly Hills, and she hangs all of her scarves. She has a Chanel scarf collection, and she hangs like a tree.